Regardless of some pretty clear flaws, I really loved Infinity War, and I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Avengers Endgame has been out for like, what, 3 weeks now? I feel like I can talk about it with some spoilers. Avengers Endgame is the final movie in I think what we're calling the Infinity Stone saga. Anyway, this was one of the best movie theater experiences of my life, I think. Honestly, I remember when I saw The Dark Knight, I remember seeing The Force Awakens, even Mad Max Fury Road. It's just the feeling of just joy you share with the entire theater. It's unlike anything else. That's one of my favorite things, and this movie definitely delivered in that. Now, I'm not saying these are the best movies ever made, and I'm not even saying they're all on the same level. It's just walking into these movies doesn't feel like you're walking into a theater, it feels like you're walking into an event. And that's exactly what Avengers Endgame is, an event. Alright, spoilers from this point on, guys, seriously. Spoilers. I'm serious. There are spoilers from this point on. I really have so much to say about this movie, and I'm probably not even going to cover half, so I'm going to do my best to cover what I want to right now. I'm just going to start. Here we go. This had, in my opinion, some of the best acting in the entire MCU. I mean that. Like, if you take any scene from this movie, pull it out of context, I know it probably won't make sense, but just look at it from an acting perspective, it'll probably surprise you. Scarlett Johansson pulls some serious game right from the beginning of the movie. Paul Rudd too, he had like a 1 minute scene with his daughter right away, and it sat with me the whole movie. It was really touching. I thought Mark Ruffalo as Professor Hulk was a huge improvement from whatever he was trying to do in Infinity War. Chris Hemsworth and Brie Larson might have had a couple lines that really didn't deliver for me, but this might change upon rewatching. Those are honestly just two characters I never have fully connected with. This is a really long movie, and if you're not invested in all of the characters, it's gonna feel long. If you are invested in the characters, each one gets a moment to shine, and the actors do their best to give those moments their all. I've heard a lot of mixed feelings on Thor specifically, so I'm gonna address that myself. I thought it was alright. The look of his weight gain was pretty interesting, I guess. It took me seeing it twice to really get what they were going for. Like, the first time I saw it, I just thought it looked weird, but the second time I saw that they were just basically going for a still muscular and still, like, godlike body, but he just had a beer belly underneath it all. I don't know, it doesn't really look that great, but it doesn't look bad, so it's something you kind of have to brush off as cheesy comic book like comedy. It just wasn't done the best, and I can totally get why it would be something that will take you out. I really liked Chris Hemsworth's performance though, especially when he had a scene with his mom. That's personally something I thought was done kind of poorly in the past, and I'd always wish they'd do something to at least pay better respect to her. I just still feel like nobody really knows what to do with Thor. Anyway, something I really want to talk about is how to me, when I was watching Endgame, it felt like everyone on board fully embraced comic book logic in order to just give us a really fun movie to watch. In Infinity War, Doctor Strange explains to Tony that in 14 million futures, they only win one. This basically means that the entire plot of Endgame is 1 in 14 million. This kind of excused for me all those little weird coincidences, like the rat basically saving the world. By the time Tony was seeing his dad by accident, at the same time Cap was seeing his former lover by accident, I don't know, I was just totally on board for it all. I felt pretty similarly about the time travel logic in this movie. Like, it made sense for the logic of the movie as the movie happened in front of me. I'm sure if you like really picked this movie apart and looked back and dug into it, you could find some plot holes, but I mean, they even reference Back to the Future, which is pretty much considered one of the best time travel movies ever, and that movie is filled with plot holes. I don't know, when they referenced that, it felt to me like they were saying, yeah, we know, just enjoy a good movie. I'm gonna move on from defending the movie's logic because honestly that's preferential. To me, it's a comic book movie and it felt like it knew that it was a comic book movie. That might not run the same for everyone else. There was some good cinematography in this movie, some good camera work, but stylish directing isn't what the Russos are really known for. I feel like they focus more on the character moments, emotional storytelling, and fan service in order to give us a movie that's just really fun to watch. And I'm not saying these guys aren't good at directing with style. They definitely are. Look at some of the fight scenes in these movies. It's just that when you compare it to some other movies like the Guardians movies, you can see how there are differences. There were a few moments where the editing was a little bit jarring. It kind of felt to me like they were finishing up the movie and then realized that they still had like 20 minutes too much and they just cut like maybe one or two scenes. It's kind of hard to explain, but there's just a few hard edits in the movie that I definitely noticed even on a second viewing. The music in Avengers Endgame was actually pretty great in some moments. Alan Silvestri composed this one, and he's legendary. I don't even need to go into his stuff. I just feel like he did a really great job of utilizing the different heroes and their themes and the different movies' themes to make for some super epic moments. Endgame really does feel like the finale episode of a television series I've been watching for years, but in movie form. If that doesn't sound appealing to you, this is just not going to be a movie you probably enjoy. I personally went in fully prepared for that and walked out so satisfied with the experience. Honestly, I could probably make a whole other video about this movie. There is just so much packed into it. And maybe I will. But for now, just know this. Avengers Endgame has a lot going on. I mean a lot. Naturally, not everything is going to work for everyone, even me, but what's important is that I went in way too hyped for thinking that it could ever meet my expectations, and I walked out super satisfied. This really is such a hard movie to give a number rating. I mean, I almost didn't at all, but I feel like I put all this work into a video, I might as well just put a silly number at the end of it. So I think I would give Avengers Endgame an 8 out of 10. We'll see how that holds up over time in multiple viewings. I mean, Infinity War really did get better for me every time I watched it. If that's the case for this one, who knows how good it'll be in a few years for me. It might just be a classic. Now, I know you saw Endgame or else you really wouldn't have watched this, so let me know what you thought down below. And as always, keep watching movies.